Welcome, everybody. to Dover Motor Speedway, the Monster Mile in the first state in the U.S. Dover, Delaware, the site of tonight's race 23 of the TWIGI iRacing Series season. I'm Carmen Sienna. Alongside me, as has been for like the last several weeks, Callie Heydt. Obviously, it's another concrete track. You were at Nashville last week, and it was a tire-saving track, one that required a lot of strategy. There's more cars tonight than what we saw at Nashville last week, and it's a shorter track. There's going to be a lot more traffic. Callie, you had a time to see a bit of how these cars have been performing so far in practice. How bad is that traffic going to be tonight?
I think primarily the main indicator behind how chaotic this will be with traffic is the sheer amount of penalties we have tonight. A lot of cars with EOL, a lot of cars with drive-throughs. Traffic will be in play within the first few laps. Immediately, there will be cars trying to dive around slow-moving traffic in what is not a large track. There isn't a whole lot of space to do it in.
Yeah, this Monster Mile, it is exactly a mile in length, and it's all concrete, abrasive, and graining on these Goodyear tires that everyone's going to be driving here this evening. Information on your screen kind of tells the tale. 78 degrees, the air temp. Wish it was that way here right now, for real. Track temp seems more like it. 117 degrees is what people will be feeling on track. Going to be very slippery, very hot, and tires will wear quickly. And with the bowl shape of this Dover Motor Speedway, next to no wind on track should make it a little bit more stable for those that have to try to push hard early on. Qualifying has been ongoing as we kind of look forward here. Saw Corey Piper there for a split second with about a minute left in qualifying. Corey Piper, the only debutant in the series this evening. He's going to be sitting in 16th and last place, barring that of Lilac Zier, who we saw in a new paint scheme a week ago. Louis Frazier, Selena Thompson not setting lap times. They're two drivers that have penalties to serve over the last few weeks. Frazier from Michigan, Thompson mostly from the last race at Nashville. As we look at Lilac Zier.
Now, I just want to point out something. I don't know if you've noticed. Have you noticed something a little off over the past few weeks with one of our star competitors during qualifying?
I noticed, obviously, he took last week off, but I've noticed that Merrick Watchorn, and he's done it again, has not been at the front of the field in qualifying here.
Not even close. 3 rows back. I think it was Michigan. He was 7th. I don't recall where he qualified last week at Nashville, but I do recall it wasn't front row. But I don't recall him always having this issue. I recall him starting first, leading the most laps, and finishing first.
Yeah,
so I am wondering.
He's fallen another spot. Lilac Zier just went to 6th. Oh, just went to 3rd. Pushes Watchorn down to 6th. So that is something to sort of lo and behold here as we get ready for this race. This is what we're looking at again. Track temps still the same. Nothing much changing here. But the starting grid, going to be an interesting talking point. Alec Daffin took a sabbatical for a couple weeks. He returns and puts it on pole position immediately alongside Patrick Hernandez. Lilac Zier and Nick Pressey, they sit in row number 2. It'll be interesting to see how they go at the start of this race. Lilac Zier, last time we saw her this far up the field, she burned her tires off. Let's see if she falls for that again, or if she does her typical stick of trying to strategize and extend her tire runs. Brennan Gregg and Merrick Watchorn sit in row 3. Brennan Gregg and Merrick Watchorn, top 2 in the standings, albeit a huge gap between the two. But they have a little bit of work to do in traffic, and this is a place where traffic is horrendous. Eli Sasek for Ascent Racing, he's in row 4 alongside Maurice Gamillion, Bobby Blowers, and Martin Roberg in row number 5. They'll be ahead of Jacob Elkins and David Wright, rounding out the first 6 rows of this field. Looking a little further on down the order, Casey Ellis and Greg Pillar in row 7. RJ Buchanan, the lone Canadian in the field, sits in row 8 alongside Jack Stanley. Corey Piper, the debutant, last car to set a lap time, set in 17th. Lily Frazier in 18th. Selena Thompson in 19th. Selena Thompson, reminder, will have a drive-through as well to serve after incidents that took place at Nashville a week
I believe
ago.
Thompson, Frazier, and Gamillion all have EOL penalties as well for this race.
Correct, yeah. All of them have EOLs, but Selena Thompson, particularly for an egregious accident last week,
Which one?
Has a drive-through to serve, and I believe will have a penalty of some sort to serve the next 5 races, including tonight. So it's Daffin at the front of the field, then Hernandez in second.
Best start from Hernandez in... No, sorry. Hernandez hasn't been here for a few rounds. That's what it is, yeah.
It still matches one of his better qualifying positions, I believe.
Still a very good start. Besting both his teammates. All 3 of his teammates. Elkins is also a part of that same team, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, so Hernandez the best of the 4, followed by Watchorn, Gamillion, and then Elkins for that team.
Yeah, you look at Hernandez. He last started out. He started on pole at Texas, then second at Kentucky. But his last race was Mid Ohio, so it has been a few races, as you mentioned there. So it's going to be interesting to see how he returns to form here. But the pace car is in. It's the first state 200, and Daffin wheel spins on the initial start. But we're racing at Dover. Daffin takes the lead early.
Very clean start to this first lap.
Decent amount of space starting out. It's just how quickly that right front's going to wear out.
Right, very nearly hugging the wall there.
You see already Nick Presley drifting up wide, allowing Watchorn to go through. Watchorn already up 3 spots. Start on the outside lane.
So yeah, down 5 spots.
Yes.
This is a prime example of one driver having extreme aggression, extreme pace in the opening rounds, and another driver wanting none of that.
You see Selena Thompson going down pit lane, 35 mile an hour the speed limit, and already a lap down, serving a penalty.
Gamillion down 10.
10 spots, yeah, he had that EOL.
Oh, of course, yeah, because it's showing his qualifying position, that's right.
Yep. Watchorn in third behind his teammate, and Hernandez looking to the inside, 19 in the 91. Brennan Gregg fourth, and it's Sasek. And Blauer, 6 cars under a bubble. As Watchorn moves up to second place, trying to carve his way through. Didn't qualify well, but it's not stopped him. He's been 7 in a row in his win streak. 14 to 22. Daffin was his biggest adversary for a good part of this season. Cars in the wall. Gregg and Blowers.
Oh, and I
believe that's Jack
negligence
Stanley.
there from Stanley just was not paying attention. The collision started into 3, and Stanley was on the back straight, paying 0 attention to what's going on.
Had trouble there between Blowers and Gregg, I believe. We'll go back and look at it.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Oh yeah.
So Gregg just Greg got turned there by Blowers into 3. Luckily, it was a mostly, I would say, no one else was affected up until Stanley completely arc break that incident. Everyone got pretty low, and then Stanley just went in too hot. Rear end looped a little bit, and then straight into the back of Gregg.
Yeah, very unsighted there. You see Gregg and Blowers, with Gregg with a substantial amount of damage, more than Blowers did. Blowers just trying to make spots early, trying to use that outside lane. And as a result, both will now be at the back of the field and without a fast repair. which will put them at trouble for a track that you're going to probably need that fast period later on in the race anyway.
Such a foolish waste of your resources from the 95 car there.
Alec Daffin retains the lead of this race during the first caution. However, the person that he's been fighting all season long, the person that frustrated him to the point of needing to take a sabbatical, now sitting right beside him on this restart. Already up 4 spots. Hernandez down 1. Sasek up 3. Blowers, who did not pit on that pit stop, interestingly enough.
Well, I wouldn't if I was him. It's a short track. It's not quite as aero dependent as any of the larger tracks. The likelihood of cautions coming sooner rather than later are high. So if the need arises that his performance has dropped down as a result of this impact, he will have plenty of opportunities to dive in for that fast repair. However, I wouldn't want to use it that so soon.
We're going to figure out how much he's affected by it, because he ended up pancaking the wall a decent amount. The number 34 behind Eli Sasek. Nick Pressey down 2 spots, 0 because of Brennan Great's issue. Only down 4 spots. Then it's Elkins, Roberg, and Buchanan, all up spots of varying degrees. Buchanan up 5, currently the most of anybody in the field. And Slim Thompson bailed out by that, got the free pass. And so she'll start at the back of the field. So, after 8 laps, a penalty negated for Selena Thompson, back to where she was. And a reset button for the top 6.
Definitely a good time for a safety car if you have just gone through a mandatory drive-through.
Yeah, it's especially when you have free passes available. You know you're going to get it back. Yeah.
I tell you what, if I was involved in the incident that had caused a driver to be issued a driver penalty for the next race, and then that penalty had been basically wiped out by the first 10 laps, I wouldn't be happy.
Yeah, it'd be a bit frustrating.
I think, well, what's the point?
I think it'd be more frustrating if you were involved in that incident.
I was definitely more so. But don't worry, there is still plenty of time in the race for that to happen, because they are quite close to each other, those 2 cars from last week.
Good Million sitting in 14th. Selena Thompson now in 19th, last place as the free pass recipient, starting at the tail end of the longest line. We will see the green flag at the end of this lap. She gets back underway. Some people showing their hands initially. Obviously, we know that Watchorn's got race pace.
That does surprise me. I'm shocked.
See how quickly he can get to the front, because Alec Daffin spun his tires on the initial start. See if he can solve that, because that could be very scary. Alec Daffin, Merrick Watchorn, front of the field, as they get ready to go racing once again here at Dover. Green flag, Daffin nailed the restart that time, and made sure of it.
Clean through 1, clean through 2. Frazier dropping off a little bit there, letting cars by.
Dover, it's got the speed of an intermediate, but it races like a short track. So sometimes survival is the key around here.
In my experience, any short track is the key of survival, and I don't do very well at that.
Were you at the Champ Car race that we had here at Dover?
God, no. I value my time.
Shame, you missed out.
I'd be in the wall in the first 10 laps.
I was in 30. Watchorn still at bay from Daffin, but looking to the inside now, and Daffin's going to give him 0 room. No quarters spared, as Daffin knows that he's only got a small line of defense. As Watchorn blinks out, that was scary down the back straightaway. And Watchorn on the outside lane takes it away from Daffin into the lead. 12 laps.
10 racing laps. That's a pretty standard figure at this point.
Less than 10 racing laps. We had 4 caution laps. Now the question is, can anyone behind Daffin try to hold up with Watchhorn?
Hernandez is giving it a good try. He's showing eagerness to get past Daffin in the corners.
Absolutely.
A little loose into one there. He's really trying. He's catching. He's right on Daffin's bumper.
He's got to be careful he doesn't give himself up to Sasek too, because Sasek's just as quick. Sasek coming off of a appearance at the Firecracker 400 last week.
How did he do?
I don't remember. I didn't watch. I had a personal emergency.
That is correct.
But I know that he qualified out of 86 drivers or 88 drivers. So that in itself.
Surely they would have made it 87 drivers. Missed opportunities.
It really is. But right now, Hernandez right on the bumper of Daffin still.
If anything, he's putting the throw god into Daffin.
But as Hernandez sits behind Daffin, Watchhorn continues to pull away. It's now 6/10 between the top two. Hernandez looks outside now.
Thompson's going in for a second stop. So they're the first time through the pits for their drive-through, but I'm curious why they're heading in now. They have minor damage to the front right fender, but nothing race-ending, nothing requiring a fast repair. I'm wondering if they are disinterested in continuing this race.
Potentially. It's going to be a long 5 weeks if that's the case, though.
And we missed Sasek getting right by Hernandez.
Yeah, we were looking at Selena Thompson to see if we could find any damage on her car.
Sasek got a much better run out of 3. Was past Hernandez out of 2. Was past Hernandez into 3, and had the spot done out of 4.
Sasek going to try to challenge now for that second spot, as Selena Thompson has parked it and is done for the race. Four cars in a blanket battling for second place at the moment, with Alec Daffin being the cork in the bottle. Oh, almost contact there between Hernandez as he bottled up out of 4. Sasek goes on the 3rd, and now Hernandez will drop a spot again to his teammate this time, Jacob Elkins in the 9. And now both of Watchhorn's teammates here losing touch with Sasek and Daffin as further back. Zier and Blowers go side by side, wheel to wheel. We've seen that before in ABN. Zier gets the advantage, so will Brennan Gregg on the inside lane, as Martin Roberg sits in 10th position trying to get another spot as well. It is thinned down a little bit.
Attack has definitely dispersed over the length of the racetrack. No one yet laps down on pace, only Thompson, who parked the car. However, last place car Stanley does have front right quarter damage, which wasn't from the earlier incident, so they have had another coming together with the wall.
And that's going to be rough. Once you find the wall once here, it's almost like Darlington. Once you find it once, you'll find it multiple times. Front of the field is still Merrick Watchhorn, leading the way over Alec Daffin and Eli Sasek.
5-3 being the toughest battle we currently have on track.
Yeah, Sasek now under threat from Hernandez. Hernandez not afraid of putting the bumper to people, it looks like tonight.
Well, Sasek has 2 teammates right behind him and eager to get past, and it looks like they might be about to make it happen.
Outside
if
lane.
Elkins can get the run here. Hernandez past Elkins. Into 4. Sorry, Hernandez past Sasek. And now Elkins looking to duplicate that result on on Sasic, too many E's and S's and other letters, and get to his teammate.
Watching Elkins right now as he does get around Sasic. Sasic drifts out wide. And now Pressy and Zier on the charge, as is Brendan Gregg.
It almost looks like Sasic gave him that spot, disinterested in a fight, preferring superior tires over track position.
Potentially. Not a bad move. Gregg tags the wall just a smidge in this battle. Sasic struggling big time. Give him another spot there at Pressy. That is Sasic now down to 6th place. Started this race in 7th. Battle further on back, side by side, 2 rows in. Gamillion and Buchanan and Wright and Blowers. That is the fringe of the top 10. As the inside lane prevails there, David Wright goes through on both Buchanan and Blowers.
I believe it was at Michigan where Sasic had consistent tire wear issues and was on an alternate strategy that did not play out. At this rate, I feel like maybe seeing a repeat set of circumstances for Eli Sasic tonight, which would be in a track like this, a short track, where the pit time to lap time differences are significant. That's not what you want. It's not what you want at all.
Sasic under threat now from Zier and Brendan Gregg. And you can tell how much Sasic's pushing there. Zier lets him do that. It picks up the inside lane across the line. This was for 6th place. And Zier's going to make her way through.
Gregg trying to keep with these cars, trying to get by. Very nearly getting by on Sasic and making the move stick. Sasic dropping like flies here. Now down 1 position from where he started, about to be 2 as 37 Roberg makes the move.
Yeah, Sasic struggling big time. We're only 31 laps into this 200 lap race.
And with it being a short track, fuel tanks last many more laps.
Yes.
We're not looking at our 40 to 45 lap window like we usually are on 1.5 mile tracks. This is 1 mile. This could go up to 60, I suppose.
I'd say it's probably closer. I think this is probably a 2-stop race if this thing goes green. The number you need to get to is 67. 67, then 134 would be the easiest math to that.
Gregg, Wright, and Stanley already in the pits due to earlier altercations have some more fuel in the tank. They can make the car run a little longer if their tires survive. Much easier to make that 2-stop.
Yeah, that's the thing I think to really kind of keep an eye on. Keep an eye on Brendan Gregg there. He did some on lap 6 out of necessity, but he's already made it back. He's looking at the tail end of Zier as Zier battles with Pressy, and they all try to catch up to Elkins and Hernandez and Daffin. Brendan Gregg knows the position he's in right now. He needs to start really reeling in points on Merrick Watchorn, and quickly. It's a 500-point gap.
Watchorn has absolutely ran away with it here. 3-second gap to Daffin, and then a half second between Daffin and Hernandez, nearly 2 seconds between Hernandez and Elkins, and then a 3-car fight behind Elkins for the 6th spot.
Yeah, they've been reeling in Elkins here as we're watching
Gregg,
that.
now Roberg and Pressy all involved here. Could go very wrong very easily. There's very little room for error here. Well, there's very little room, period.
Yeah, they've all been reeling in Elkins here. But this battle has been the most intense battle on track as Pressy and Roberg stay side by side. Pressy trying to hold on to 7th place for what it's worth, and will do so into 1.
We know that Pressy has the pace if he has the car and the tires, and doesn't have wall events. Had one of those in Michigan, a fantastic running, wiped out in seconds. Hopefully we can see something good out of him today, because we've seen before on Wednesday nights that given the right circumstances, he can take the fight to the front.
Absolutely. Everything's spinning out just a little bit. Sasek and Gamillion about to duke it out for 10th place. And Gamillion's going to make his way through on the ailing Sasek. Let's put Gamillion up to P10. As you see David Wright in the mix now. The one car trying to make his way further forward, up 4 spots away from where he started as he gets around that of Roberg.
Watchhorn nearly wiped out by a lap car on lap 39. The 23 car of Piper, a high into 3, whacks a wall just as Watchhorn is going for the pass, nearly takes the leader out. That would have been a catastrophic event.
Now Sir Piper can make it to pit lane. We see Piper in pit lane now as you're right on board with David Wright as he tries to chase down Nick Pressy for the 7th spot. RJ Buchanan also in pit lane now. In this battle for 7th place, David Wright gets the advantage on the New York native and goes through to 7th as Roberg follows through for 8th. A little further forward, battle here between Veer and Elkins for 4th, with Brennan Gregg in pursuit. But do keep in mind that is a long battle and a very short lap. And Brennan Gregg trying to make his way through, trying to pick off 2 for 1 here. But so far unable to make that happen as they go down the back straightaway. Sear and Elkins still side by side. Elkins will finally relent. We'll give up 2 spots. We'll try not to give up 3 as David Wright's on the charge. David Wright, another one of those drivers, has been on lap 6, along with Brennan Gregg and Jack Stanley. Stanley not a threat at any point so far right now. Gregg and Wright, though, are big threats as they move forward through the field. I think that'll be interesting to see now as Zier has gotten clear. If that clean air helps her try to move forward on Hernandez and Daffin. Hernandez doing his part, staying right there attached to Alec Daffin. The gap has been between 4 and 5 tenths since the drop of the green flag between those two. It's that they're both losing ground equally to that of Merrick Watcher, and Blowers in pit lane.
So that's in at lap 45, which is curious, very curious. Obviously he still has that minor damage from his early lap 7 incident with Greg, but I don't know. I can't imagine this is a fuel requirement stop.
He joins Buchanan and Piper as drivers that have made pit stops for one reason or another within the last 10 laps. Piper on lap 38 and Buchanan on lap 40. Everyone else, minus Lena Thompson, still going in this race as we approach the quarter-way mark. These laps are quick, 25 second lap times. Zier trying to pull away from Burning Greg, has successfully pulled 7/10, three-quarters of a second away from the runner-up in the championship right now. David Wright hounding him. David Wright looking keen on getting a top 5 if possible. Elkins in 7th, already over a second behind this. But very well spaced out. 15 cars on the lead lap firmly. Jack Stanley, the last car on the lead lap, in that 15th spot, as David Wright goes side by side with Brennan Gregg for top 5. Here on lap 50. Coming to complete the first quarter of the race. David Wright makes 7 spots gained up to 5th place from 12th.
Interestingly, both Wright and Greg were some of the cars that had the early pit, so they have same age tires.
Eli Sassican exactly at the quarterway mark. So, and we knew that he had to come in probably sooner rather than later. He was struggling.
It's going to be a difficult remainder of the race for him if he maintains the aggression on his tire that he's been showcasing.
He has struggled big time. He is now massively behind the 8 ball. We'll see what he can do. And David Wright comes in. So your prediction, so we were thinking maybe it's going to be longer than 50 laps. I don't think it's going to be by much.
No.
Especially when that happens. Blowers, Chameleon, and pressing.
Violent crash.
Very violent crash. A forced 3 wide.
Blowers just fresh out of the pits.
Yeah.
And he hadn't used his fast repair. He saw damage from the previous incident. So his race isn't yet over, but... Oh, that is... so that was started by a small fender bender between Buchanan and Pressy. Pressy coming down.
Yeah, Buchanan was on fresher tires here.
Buchanan on fresher tires, go on the inside. Pressy comes down, I suppose not where he's there, taps him, goes high, hits the wall, then just rebounds down into Chameleon and into Blowers.
Yeah, a very violent impact there.
Very violent. The rebound against the wall from Blowers, destroying Chameleon's car from damage that would have otherwise been manageable. So that's our second caution of the race, lap 53. By our guessing, right on the mark for the first fuel stop of the race. We may never know because Watchon is typically one of the cars to run that tank dry. So when he pits on the green, we get a good idea of what those tanks can do. But again, is it a 2-stop? The cars now, no, it's not. It's going to be a 3-stop. Blowers is still out. I'm not sure if his car is even going to make it to pit lane at this point. It seems like he's struggling in the corners. Or at least the engine is.
Alrighty. So, we've seen this pit stop sequence go through. I had to step aside because my pupper was needing a little bit of attention. But to answer your question, it's going to be a 3-stop. It looked like it was going to end up probably leaning towards 3-stop anyway, with how everyone was making their pit stops. It seemed like
a much shorter window during the last run.
Yeah.
Now that window will be that run will be slightly longer, which depending on how you are with tire wear, may not play to your advantage. If you are the likes of Eli Sasek, who I believe is currently a lap down.
Yeah, he was pinned off lead lap.
Yeah, so if you are the likes of Eli Sasek, who has struggled with tire wear, a longer final run may play against your advantages and your strengths on this track in this car, which was already bad enough as it was.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting restart as we get ready to go back to racing here after our second caution of the night. Merrick Watchman sits in first. It's his teammate Patrick Hernandez alongside him on the front row. Bring Greg in third, Zier, well, it should be Zier third, Greg fourth. Elkins and Gamillion fifth and sixth. Then Alec Daffin, the pole sitter, down in 7th place alongside that of Lily Frazier. But it's almost time to go back racing. Second restart of the night is green. Pretty coordinated restart there for teammates, as Gamillion holds on to the race lead. Now Hernandez hits 2nd place, with Daffin nowhere to be found. Daffin has a lot of work to do, and he's going to try to do what he's done before, and that is use his chrome horn to get through the field. Oh, and he gets really loose trying to avoid that of Zier, who's blinking. A little bit of latency there for Zier. And Elkins, who was likewise having to avoid the blinking of the 89. But put Daffin up to 5th, ahead of Elkins and Gamillion on that restart. And now looking to the inside is Zier. You want to see someone that's trying to charge to the front. There it is. Zier thrown back will drop another spot to Elkins. Hernandez, a little bit of latency, but now the top 4 is nose to tail. In the early going here.
So as we hit lap 60, Watchhorn 5 positions up from starting in 1st place. Elkins is 6 up in 5th place. Frazier, a EOL at the start of this race, is currently 8 positions up in 10th place. And then we have Zier down 3 from starting 3rd, now 6th. Eli Sasek down 7 from 7th to 14th. And Bobby Blowers down 9 from 9th to 18th.
Some of the biggest winners and losers there. Lily Frazier up 8 spots from 18th to 10th. So right now, she's the biggest mover going forward in this field right now, sitting in the top 10. Daffin's made his way to 3rd place. Now behind Hernandez. The issue is that Hernandez and Daffin seem pretty evenly paced on that long run we had a little bit ago. So this could be a pretty decent challenge for that of Daffin. Burning Greg tagged the wall just a smidge there in that 4th position, the 18 car. Daffin closing the gap hard on Hernandez, trying to get back to 2nd place. We'll look to the inside into 1. Hernandez sees it coming. Not going to give it up, using the outside lane for leverage. And Daffin realizes that he's not going to have the run this time, so he slots back in 3rd.
I'm interested to see that Blowers still missing his front end. Didn't use the fast repair from earlier, which I'm pretty sure he still had.
Interesting. Very interesting seeing that. Yeah.
Let me go back and check something. I may need to find out what's happened.
You do that, we'll look at the battle continuing on for the top 5. Hernandez stays in second place. Daffin now under threat from the third Watch Running Motorsports car in Elkins. Elkins sitting right now in the fourth spot, but would love to make it a 1-2-3 for the team. And then his former teammate Brendan Gregg sitting in fifth.
Oh. Interesting. Okay. So, on review, when Bobby Blowers came into his green flag stop on lap 56, he did, whether it was intentional or otherwise, he did use his fast repair. The damage I had seen the lap prior to, yes, that came after the pit stops. 3 laps in, he rubbed the outside wall in the back stretch, re-damaged his front fender. So that damage he's currently dealing with, he has to deal with that for the remainder of the race. That is his damage to Nurse.
Oof. It's a long race still remaining. That's not going to be pleasant. Corey Piper down pit lane once more. Not sure what's going on with that 23 machine. But Corey Piper struggling now. Back down on pit lane in that Hooters machine.
I'm not seeing any instances with the walls over the past 4 or 5 laps, so he last came in to stop lap 52, which was during the yellow, I believe.
Yep.
So 10 green laps, and I don't know, perhaps he's taking tires during this stop, so perhaps he forgot to take tires in his last stop, or whatever the case may be. Oh no, the engine's off. I think he's done. The engine has turned off after the stop. He's either done or he has a significant damage to deal with. Though I didn't see much issue with his pace.
Could be a technical issue on his end too. It could be something that's not visible exterior wise. It could be more internal.
Whatever the case, regardless of whether he is or rather he is out of this race, regardless of temporarily or permanently. He will be running the remainder of this race in no man's land, and the position he's currently in is likely where he'll finish.
I wouldn't say that. We've seen a lot of things happen, especially we'll see if he starts rolling the endpoint in the next minute or so, because that's really...
Flowers coming in now.
Yeah, kind of figured Flowers' race was kind of...
I imagine this will be a park. There's too much damage and not enough track to get any reasonable amount of repairs in.
People getting a lot more spaced out here. You'd have to wait for another pit stop cycle where undercuts could cause some problems like what it did last time with RJ Buchanan and Nick Cressy getting into each other. And that's at least a good 45 laps still away. Or really, you'd say actually probably closer to like 30 laps away at this point. And if he is wounded as much as he's looked, it's probably not worth that wait. RJ Buchanan also back down pit lane. Now this is a bit more interesting because his car is fine, but he's come down pit lane here on lap 74, and he'll go further down. As we watch the leaders go by, Hernandez once again under threat from Alec Daffin. Elkins in the 4th position. Then Brendan Gregg in 5th, where he started. There's Piper coming out of pit lane. He comes out in a really good spot, being pretty well clear of everybody, and now on slightly fresher tires. Buchanan sitting for a prolonged period of time as well. So it seems like there is longer issues at play here for both of those drivers on pit lane. So it looks like there is a race to the bottom, as much as there's also a race to the top. Merrick Watcher looking for 8 in a row in his 15th of the season. Patrick Hernandez still looking for his 1st of the season.
How many winners do we currently have in this season of Twiggy? We have Watcher, of course. We have our race 1 winner at Daytona, whose name slips my mind.
So we have James Wurtzima, who won Daytona. Obviously,
Rudy Valentin has wiped the road courses.
Yeah, Rudy Valentin, Alec Daffin, and that's been it. We have 5 race winners.
I don't think we're going to get to 6 tonight. What about you?
anything can happen. A very poorly timed caution could really throw things for a
Every
loop.
time that anything could happen, it has happened to Watchhorn, and he still remains on top. It would take a catastrophic issue in the final stage of the race for Watchhorn to have any sense of race win ripped away from him. Because every issue, be it a pit stop error or a pit stop like a timing error with strategy versus a caution, or straight up being involved in a collision, or whatever the case may be, there has always been sufficient time in the race, which seems to be 20 laps maximum for him to climb back up. But there has always been significant time in the race for him to climb back up and reclaim, at the very least, podium spot, more likely a win still.
We'll see how this race plays out. We've got 121 laps to go. For those that are just now tuning in here, we're at Dover tonight. We've had 2 cautions. We had a caution on lap 7 between, I believe, I want to say Blowers was a part of it. About Blowers, Greg, and Jack Stanley. Jack Stanley still at the bottom of the field here. He is in 15th. Bobby Blowers was involved in the second caution as well and is now sitting 18th on pit lane and effectively out of this race. But it's been green flag for the most part in this race. We've ran 8 laps of caution and 82 laps. So a pretty good race so far. Alec Daffin started this race on pole position. Merrick Watchorn started down in 6th place. It took Watchorn to lap 12 to get up to the front of the field, where he's not relinquished it. It's been a strong battle further throughout the field. Daffin, Hernandez, Gregg, Elkins have all looked strong battling for that podium spot, but the more that they battle, the further away ahead Watchorn gets.
Those 3rd through 6th, 7th spots have alternated throughout the race. There's not often been a set running order for those positions. Of course, Watchhorn and Daffin have, as they usually do, ran away with it. A slightly smaller gap than usual due to the recent caution 30 laps ago. However, the 3rd through 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th varies verily. Yeah, sure, we'll go with that one. They're not consistently in the same spots. They're fighting the entire time. As I say that, Zier and Elkins, they are going at it through 1 and 2.
Yeah, Zier's been strong at points.
Good start, fell off quickly.
Yeah, and it's been that way for the restarts as well. Elkins has looked strong as well as they go side by side at 4. Gomillion came back after having to serve an EOL at the start of this race. He is now up into 7th after having to go all the way back essentially to 19th to get back up to 7th place. Not bad for him. Martin Roberg looking consistent right now at 37. Nick Pressey looked strong at one point, but fell off hard in that long 50-plus lap stint we had earlier on, and he's fallen down to the 9th position, where he's kind of just languished there so far. Louis Frazier, the biggest gainer of this race, sits 8 spots, still in 10th, pretty safely in 10th ahead of Greg Pillar. David Wright looks strong, but a bad pit stop put him down in 12th place, where he remains. And he is right now currently the first car off the lead lap as Merrick Watchorn keeps hold of this race lead. Alec Daffin a 2nd and a quarter behind, but now clear of Hernandez, trying to give pursuit to the 91. This is a track that should theoretically be in Daffin's wheelhouse. Daffin won at Richmond, he won at Martinsville, he won at Darlington, he won at Charlotte, he won at Bristol. 2 of those tracks are concrete tracks. You look at Bristol, you look at Martinsville, which has the concrete corners to it.
Well, I think perhaps Watchman is saying, no thank you, I'll take this one.
Trying to. Daffin took a sabbatical after, I believe, we look at Mid-Ohio, I think. Mid-Ohio or Milwaukee was the last race that he ran in.
Alec Daffin competed last, I believe it was 2 weeks ago at Michigan, where he had one...
Oh, yeah, it was in Michigan, where he got
he had a very
out.
incident-ridden race where he had one error in judgment. Well, he attempted an undercut, and a caution came out soon after, and that ruined his strategy and sent him all the way to the back of the field. He hard charged his way out to the midfield. He got wrecked by, I believe, it was Frazier. Got sent back, used his fast repair. Again, hard charged through the field. And then I believe it was the 89 Zia who destroyed his race car for the second time that night, and then he just quit. He parked the car. We didn't see him last week, and we heard on good word that he had stopped racing in this series. However, he is back, and we're eager to see if his if he'll stick around. Clearly, the last race in Michigan was a straw that broke the camel's back. But maybe he found a good seamstress.
We'll find out. Right now, he's 2 seconds behind Merrick Watchorn, and that gap seems to not be shrinking anymore. Hernandez and Brennan Gregg, however, are battling for 3rd place, and that's going to be a 10th battle. Gregg drifts wide as Hernandez holds the middle of the track. Hernandez playing hard defense against the runner-up in the championship standings at the moment with, I believe it's David Wright, the lap car just behind. He's the first car a lap down again. Willie Frazier, next car to go a lap down as things currently run in this race. Two retirements from this race, technically 3, with R.J. Buchanan out of this race, Blowers out of this race, but staying in to cheer on his teammates in this event, and Selena Thompson out after 16 laps.
Selena Thompson was a starting park following really just running one of their penalties through and having 4 more to run through. Bobby Blowers faced a significant mechanical issue following a few incidences with other vehicles. Buchanan, I'm not entirely sure what caused his early finish tonight.
Yeah, that's the big question mark right now. But right now we're also looking at this battle for 3rd as it heats up. Brennan Gregg trying to make his way through. Minimize the points loss to the championship leader right now leading this race. Brennan Gregg would like to get into the top 3. Hernandez once again says no. As Gregg sits in the 4th position, Zier sits in a distant 5th, 4.3 behind us. And it's Gamillion, Roberg, Elkins, and Pressey, and Greg Pillar now in the top 10, with Frazier dropping back. And it looks like David Ryan on fresh tires is going to try to make his way through here on this battle for 3rd place. There's Roberg in the 7th position. And you look at Gamillion and Zier sitting 5th and 6th. Looking at 6th place Gamillion as he tries to chase down Lilac Zier. Rapidly approaching the halfway point in this race. Watchorn, Daffin, Hernandez, Gregg, and Zier, top 5 still, or Gamillion still gaining spots. The top 5 in sight for him. Martin Roberg in 7th, Jacob Elkins in 8th, Nick Pressey in 9th. So the battle's still ongoing as Brennan Gregg used the lap traffic of David Wright to get through to 3rd. Hernandez tried putting the bumper to him, and it didn't work out. But Brennan Gregg now through, 2nd in the championship, 3rd on track. As we approach the halfway point, Merrick Watchorn out of turn 2 will complete the first half of the race here in just about 13 seconds. But Merrick Watchorn, this is something that was sort of disclosed earlier in sort of pre-race debrief. Merrick Watchorn right now racing through a lot of bad weather. Just like what we experienced at Michigan a couple weeks ago. Intermittent weather could sever connection here and really spice this up.
I'm currently wondering whether or not the pitting cycle will begin over the next 5 to 10 laps. They last came in mid 50s. We're at 100 now. We have no one of right coming in right now. The top 10 cars all came in either 54 or 55. So if their tanks are all running out, it's going to be at the same time. We have Sasek going in. Yeah, we have Sasek coming in now. He was last in a lap 50. So those 54, 55 lap cars, they may have their ooh, Hernandez loose out of 4 in the wall. Damage to his right rear quarter. However, the cars seem to be running just fine. As I was saying, I think these cars, from Watchhorn all the way down to Stanley, these should all be coming in, I would say, probably by 110. Depending on how much fuel they've been using.
Yeah, this is a track
105
like
to 110 is what I'm expecting to start coming in bulks.
Yeah. The more that you run the laps here, the less you're on the full throttle, the more you're saving fuel. So they can't extend it the later the run goes here. But you're looking obviously at Hernandez as he loses more time to Brennan Gregg. Lilac Zier sitting in 5th, and it's Chameleon in 6th. Martin Roberg 7th, and it's Elkins, Pressey, and Pillar. As Pressey struggles a little bit here after the tail end of Jacob Elkins. This is a battle for 8th position right now. Watchhorn still leads by 3.6 seconds over Daffin, who is now behind David Wright on fresh tires. Brennan Gregg in 3rd, Hernandez 4th. Pressey once again trying to make up time here on Elkins before pit stops. Casey Ellis, trouble for him as he comes down pit lane. See if this is a scheduled stop. It might be. It's in that window. So, Ellis in pit lane now. As Watchhorn is lapped up to 9th place. Watchhorn looking for, again, his 15th win of the season, his 8th in a row. You have to go back all the way. The last time Merrick Watchhorn didn't win a race, it was Bristol, and Daffin won that one.
How many more rounds is it until Watchhorn can wrap this whole thing up? I can't imagine it's many left. So say things finish as they are right now. Say this is sort of how it finishes these next several races. He can wrap this up by race 30 with 6 races left. Okay.
We're on the 23rd race of the season now. So for those that are probably like, okay, well, what does that look like? Mapping it out, realistically, we're at Dover tonight, Kansas next weekend, Chicagoland, New Hampshire, Rockingham, Pocono, Charlotte, Daytona. Daytona is race 30. That's in September.
Obviously, being a plate track, Daytona is a lot less about skill and a lot more about luck and patience. Watchhorn has patience. He doesn't quite have luck a lot of the time. Kansas, Chicago, Charlotte. These are all very traditional circuits, ovals rather. Pocono is a very skill-based track. New Hampshire is technically a short track with very little banking. And Rockingham is a short track.
Fun fact, Rockingham's longer than New Hampshire.
Very interesting. I like Rockingham. I'm less fond of New Hampshire on the oval.
Rockingham's just a little bit longer than New Hampshire. But Rockingham's a short oval that races like a speedway. New Hampshire's it's an intermediate feeling track that is a short oval. It's just how the speed plays out. Rockingham has a lot more banking. And it's a lot more challenging because it's a lot bumpier. So that's going to be interesting. But you look at those races coming up, obviously Kansas or Chicago, that's the bread and butter of stock car racing almost, those 1.5 miles. Gonna be a lot of fun, especially with the progressive banking that exists at Kansas. That should be a blast.
We are done and finished with the road course of the season, so any road rings in the season, that they won't be taking points away from Watchorn. It is just, you look at the classics, really.
Well, you look at Merrick Watchorn won Mid-Ohio. So Merrick Watchorn was, yeah, he wasn't bad. He won Mid-Ohio. And he had some stiff competition.
Sonoma left a bad taste in his mouth.
Yeah, for him, Mid-Ohio, we talked about it. I guess you weren't there for that one.
I wasn't, no.
But, yeah, Watchorn battled really hard for that one because Brennan Gregg was in that battle. There was 4 or 5 drivers that were in that battle. For those that missed it, go back and watch it on our YouTube channel because it was genuinely one of the best road course races we've broadcasted. It's right up there. HTL's race of Charlotte, I think, is up there as well. Some of our best road course races we've broadcasted for stock car racing anyway. Just the battling that went on, especially the first half of that race, it was genuinely electric. And Watchorn came out top of that. He showed he had that road course prowess, even though, you know, we didn't quite see that at Watkins Glen or Sonoma. When it came to Mid-Ohio, he was on it. And so I wouldn't say that he was possibly going to get his doors blown off him if there was another road course. But that kind of just shows with how much Watchorn's put into this. Now he's looking at his teammate here, coming up here shortly, Maurice Gamillion. His pit stops have continued to go on here, but importantly to kind of point out as Gamillion comes down pit lane, the top 5 still haven't pit. Watchorn, Daffin, Gregg, Hernandez, Zier, they're still out. They have not pit since lap 54.
Hiller, Frazier, and Stanley are all on that same cycle as well. A few cars back. But we're now 118. We are long past that 110 threshold. This could have very well been a 2-stop if that yellow hadn't come out and cars are more eager to fuel save during the run.
I said at the beginning, I said this was a 2-stop race. I said 67 was the magic number. They're on 65 right now. So that's sort of interesting to highlight here as we look to see how all of this goes.
Well, I'm
as
very sorry
Watchorn
for
comes in.
you. It will happen again.
Watchorn comes in this time. Does Daffin follow? Daffin will not.
No, so Daffin out one more, at least, perhaps 2 more laps. But really have to use up the rest of his tires now for these last few in laps.
His in lap's got to be faster than Watchorn's out lap now. And that's going to be a hard task, especially when you're at 65, 66 laps. Hernandez also came in, so at least
not coming in.
Yeah, Daffin stays out one more time. So will that of Brennan Gregg and Lilac Zier. All 3 of them stay out longer. Hiller also stays out, as will Frazier. So now they're kind of hoping for a yellow because they get to stay on lead lap. Watchorn would be on lead lap because of being the first car lap down. But they are really hoping as Brennan Gregg comes in. Gregg has come in. He's peeled off. Daffin holding on to hope. And he's holding on for the fact that if he can hold on even more laps as he gets around Hernandez, if he can hold on longer, he's going to try to make this his last stop. I have a feeling him and Zier both would be the ones to try that strategy to see how close they can get. The magic number at that point would be, you'd want to make it to lap 30. Well, lap 130, you'd want to go about 7 more laps, because then you've kind of solidified you can go 70, you can do it again. And it puts it out of range for Watchorn, who pit 65 laps in. Brennan Gregg still in pit lane, coming out of pit lane now. Daffin letting traffic go by, using Hernandez for a little bit of draft. Before Hernandez rides off to the sunset in those fresh Goodyear tires. We are in uncharted territory right now.
So the 09 is coming in. That's Greg Pillar.
Yeah, it's great.
Obviously not on the same pace.
Yeah.
So Fraser as well. They're not on the same pace as the current leaders of Daffin and Zir. However, they did come on the same lap cycle. So the next cars left. That it is just Zir and Daffin. Everyone else that pitted on that cycle has come in. Stanley, I think, spins out coming in to the pit lane and hits the wall. Not his day.
So the magic number, the number that they need to hit, and I mean Daffin and Zir, they need to go 2 more laps. That's it. If they can go 2 more laps, they can solidify that they are making this race to the end on fuel. They have gone the fuel mileage. Daffin's got to go 1 more lap here. He's got to pit the end of 127. But Zir can't. Zir's in this time. Daffin's made that number. He's going to lose a lot of time on this pit stop. He's going to fall back a decent amount. But if he's able to make it without pitting 1 more time, that makes life substantially easier for him, and he should be uncontested in that. But this is a 35-mile-an-hour pit lane. Yeah, but he's made his number, and he's
just parked. He's stopped.
Did he not have the fuel to make it down pit lane?
Hang on.
Oh no!
I don't know what happened. He didn't run out. He just came to a stop. He just stopped the car.
I wonder if he got a penalty.
Let me check.
I wonder if he got a speeding penalty.
I'm sorry. Is the pit lane limiter is
35?
35. I think he must have thought it was 55 because I saw him going from 70 down to 55. Oh, okay. So he locked up going over the commitment line at 50 miles an hour. 15 miles an hour over the limit.
Yeah, that's a big oversight. He had it made.
He had it done. That was it. And then...
And he's done.
And then towing out of frustration?
I think it's one of those things... I don't know. I don't know, but either way, his race is done, and that is a unforced error.
That is unfortunate.
Because that was going to be a very interesting one. It still can be, because Zir's in that range too.
Yes. She will need to make an extra lap, though.
Oh, she's back in pit lane. Never mind.
What's happening with these 2 cars?
I don't know what happened, but Zir's back down pit lane. I'm not sure what happened to Zir. I wonder if...
She may have also had a speeding penalty.
I wonder if it is...
Let me run through.
That's a pain. That's horrible. So the 2 drivers that had a strategy call-wise had it made.
So coming into her box and coming down the pit lane, she was fine for speed. It was under 35.
It could be a pit exit violation. That's painful.
Oh, wow. Yeah, she ramped up a little too soon, and she was at 40 coming over the cone.
Yeah. That's unforced errors. That's brutal. That was their best chance. Without any doubt, without any question, their best chance. And that's all for naught.
Both cars absolutely screwed up.
Yeah, for lack of better words, yeah.
For lack of better words, they screwed it up.
They have... That is fumbling the bag, if I've ever seen it. And, you know, we ask this question on a weekly basis at this point. You know, can anyone stop Merrick Watchorn? Those 2 had the ability to. It was in their grasp. They just didn't. And that is painful. So Merrick Watchorn leads over Brennan Gregg by 8.6 seconds. And what a time it's been. Interesting strategy calls. Undone. Not because the strategy was bad. I thought the strategy looked perfect.
Faultless, one might even say. Until, you know, there were faults.
Yeah, the faults weren't strategy, unfortunately.
No, the faults were the driving, or a little too fast.
Watchorn and Gray lead the way. Hernandez sits in third. Roberg fourth. Pressy fifth. Elkins, Chameleon in right, top 8. Fraser and Pillar, top 10. Sasic in 11th. Zier's recovered, or down in 12th, essentially. Daffin's race is over, officially. He will join the DNF line that includes RJ Buchanan and Selena Thompson. Blauer's back out on track after extended repairs, as is Corey Piper and Jack Stanley. So overall, we still have 16 cars still going on track here. What a turn of events.
And yet, I'm sure Watchman had no idea anything had even changed.
Probably not. It's very hard to tell what he was and wasn't focusing on here. It really, at this point, kind of doesn't matter. He's lapped his teammate there, Chameleon. He's lapped up to 6th place in this race so far. And it doesn't matter now if there's another pit stop for him, because everyone that had a chance to challenge him for it is likewise not really in competition at this point. The only people you could say maybe if they wanted to try to stretch it would be Fraser and Pillar, but they were 4 laps short on that pit stop, and they're already off the lead lap.
Coming in. The one car is coming in.
That is David Wright. This is the window.
Very interesting.
The window's open officially. It's like it's wide open.
Is it? I don't know if I would.
It's open. I don't think it's the greatest move to make, but it's open.
Okay, that's fair. It's open, but
you can make your pit stop at any point between now and then, and you're fine. It's still your last stop, scheduled wise. It's just
not very smart. It's very unwise. You'd want to go as long as you can for as long as you have tires, and then have better tires for the remaining few laps.
I think David Wright's already off the lead lap here. I think his objective here is just spend more time on fresh tires and not, especially if you don't know where the tipping point is. And this track can sneak up on you as far as where the tipping point is, where the cliff is on tire grip. Where is that margin at? Very big question that I don't think a lot of people have the answer to. Unless, of course, you're Merrick Watchorn or Brennan Gregg or Patrick Hernandez even. As David Wright comes out of pit lane with fresher tires to boot. He asked this question, can anyone stop him? Right now, the answer has been pretty resoundingly no. As to if Merrick Watchorn was going to be the race winner again. Merrick Watchorn seems pretty well set on extending that run.
It tells you a lot about the different kind of drivers we have here, where both Zier and Elkins make significant errors unrelated to their strategy and their racing that have ultimately ruined their chances for a good finish. One driver threw in the towel immediately, didn't even bother to drive into his box, just towed it immediately. And then you have Zier 3 laps down from the leader, still trying to clutch onto whatever they can get. Zier only on the same lap as one other car, Alice, so those 2 cars, there's not many spots Zier can really gain from here. 3 laps down, so many cars. If a caution comes out, the lucky dog will currently go to Elkins. There are so many cars laps down that ultimately Zier will be on that lap for the remainder of the race, as will Ellis. Classic Pillar Frazier also likely to remain at least one lap down for the remainder of the race. It'll be a fight for Pressing Million and Elkins to get that lucky dog spot if they can, although the gap between the three of them is quite sparse. Winning right behind Elkins, less than a second, 3/10 behind him, but then Pressy is nearly 3 seconds behind that fight. So really, if any of these cars wants to get back on the lead lap, it's Elkins and William for the fight. Caution right now would do that for Elkins and reinstate a 5th car onto the lead lap. Watchhorn, an incredible 10-second lead over Brennan Gregg, who is 1 second behind Hernandez. Hernandez being 9 seconds behind Roberg. Vast differences in the gaps that these cars have that are still running on the lead lap. And roughly, we're looking at Watchhorn coming in roughly lap 180, 190, depending on how his tires are. He may come in sooner to have fresher tires for the last remaining laps of the race and create a larger gap. But overall, as some of our faster cars or more hot-headed cars have part different today, and the differences in strategies and luck and tire wear has undone some of the cars' ideal efforts. The track is rather sparse and thinned out. So many cars 1 or more laps down. Ultimately speaking, realistically, this is a 4-car race for the lead, and there are currently no cars capable of besting Watchhorn at this time, unless a caution will come out anyway from now to the last 10 laps. We have Eli Sasic in the pits, going for what he is hoping to be his last stop of the race. Currently 3 laps down now. Or 4 laps down. Gonna be a tough fight to get back into any decent spots. If he can somehow get back to 2 laps down, there are 3 other cars he can fight with position. However, if a caution comes out anyway from now until their stops, he'll be stuck on that for ultimately the remainder of the race.
It's been insane, to say the least, to see the pace that he's pulled out, especially now that we've gone a prolonged green flag run. 4 cars on the lead lap, with Roberg next up in line to go a lap down. And the gap's not that large. If we zoom out here, you can see exactly what that gap looks like. Watchhorn just to the right side of your screen, Roberg center of your screen.
If your name is Martin Roberg and you are looking in your rearview mirror, there may be some slight concern.
And for Roberg, this is a career race for him. He's sitting 4th right now. He's sitting phenomenally well made. It's just difficult to make anything happen here. As we look here, 2nd place has heated up. This battle between Hernandez and Brennan Gregg, now within 0.4 of a second. Pretty good battle here going on as we approach 40 laps to go here shortly. Hernandez driving through the corner.
Going for the run into one. Alongside, past Greg. Has the move made.
Pretty well done there, and Greg's going to try to respond.
Greg has tires that are 3 laps fresher, though he has more damage to the outside of his car.
Yeah, Greg's tagged the wall more than once. Lock up there. I believe that's Corey Piper in pit lane. It is. As these two sit side by side. And they remain side by side here.
I believe the saying is, it ain't over till it's over.
Exactly. There's Eli Sasek making his way through. Sasek been on lap 150, so he's good to the end of this race. Some drivers deciding to pit early, some drivers deciding to pit later. So lap traffic will be an effect here on this battle for second place. Martin Roberg sits in 4th still, and still on the lead lap, importantly. As this battle continues on.
Oh no! Greg wrecks his car into pit lane. Heavy hit. Coming in too hot, too wide. Right side of the car impacts with the barrels, loops the car around. I don't think. No, because Greg had the early incidents lap 6.
Yeah, he's got no fast repair.
Done. That's going to be Greg absolutely done for this race. There is no way that car is remaining in a drivable state, at least one with any pace to it.
Yeah, Brendan Gregg tagged the wall hard there. Just drifted wide.
It's the 18 car claiming over radio that their force feedback has been acting up and is likely the cause of that issue.
That is unfortunate there.
That is. So many issues that some of them are driver fault, some of them are not, but so many just issues that have ruined people's races.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been wild how crazy these mishaps have been.
As it stands, we have 2 cars on the lead lap. Teammates. Actually, through the top 4, all teammates.
Yeah, they're all on the same strategy. Everyone else has come in, including Martin Roberg, who linked this 3rd position to make an early pit stop here with 36 laps to go. So Watron continues his lead of this race. As Pillar makes his way through the 09 machine, uses the bottom lane to try to get through. Be sure not to wreck the race leader. That could be disastrous. Pillar trying to make his way around. And will do so. And Frazier will not be far behind. No. Yeah, that is Frazier, the 13. Both Frazier and Blowers missing the front ends of their cars.
We're racing modifieds today.
Wish someone to give me the memo. I love modifieds. It's one of the few things we don't broadcast.
It is. We do Xfinity, we do Cup, we do Cup Older.
We do trucks.
And
that's the only thing we don't. Well, we don't do the late models either, but
well, technically speaking, modifieds are a NASCAR sanctioned like race, and
late models are not.
Yes, so we do everything under the NASCAR sun bar the modifieds, which, you know, they are the open wheel of NASCAR.
Watchhorn having to really just kind of manage traffic here. Don't get caught up in anything, but he's been in this position before. Gamillion comes in. The first of the Watchhorn Motorsports cars comes in. And so will Hernandez. As Blowers exits pit lane, the second modified on track. And here comes in Watchhorn.
Elkins came in 113, whereas the other three cars came in 119. So what is it that Elkins has been doing that has allowed him to edge over 6 laps at least on his teammates?
Ooh, that was close, and that's the penalty. That is a speeding penalty for Elkins. You asked what was it that allowed him to get a 6-lap overcut? Not that.
No, I've done it. Oh. The
Now,
last car that was on the lead lap.
Interestingly, in this, David Wright's now the first car off the lead lap. And he was one of the first ones to pit. We questioned that strategy car earlier. Him coming in on lap 140. But right now... we say right now, there's still over 30 laps to go. Oh, sorry, less than 30 laps to go. 28 to go at the line. David Wright's going to have second place here. Vernon Gregg pit on lap 161. Hernandez coming back down pit lane for a penalty.
Hernandez had a penalty too?
Hernandez coming right back down pit lane.
So both Hernandez and Elkins suffering from more speeding penalties. That's 4 at least minimum tonight. All while running in very good spots and running the strategy.
It's a very easy track to get a speeding penalty because you're going from the top speed here is about 170 miles an hour. You have to come down from about at least 150 to 35. And it's not easy going from asphalt to blacktop, and it's very bumpy down there. Obviously, you mentioned that you haven't really raced this track.
No. I raced it. I just didn't. I didn't need a pit off if you pick up what I'm putting down.
But it's very bumpy on that apron, especially when you make that transition, and especially as latest drivers are trying to push it, making that transition in the corner. You really want to try that before turn 3, so you're not having to go through that banking, because that is a lot of banking to try to come off of, and then also try to brake on worn tires. And obviously David Wright right now sitting in second place is sort of made out like a bandit here with 26 laps to go. Merrick Watchhorn, unsurprisingly, set the fastest lap of the race. A 23.76 for the 91, who has 4 cars on the lead lap now.
But how long will that last? Roberg, I imagine, hitting 10 laps earlier than Watchhorn will be a lap down come the end of this race. Potentially the likes of Greg too, who seems to have not suffered too much from his earlier incident. Car still damaged, but not...
It seemed flush on the door. He's going to have a lot of aero issues. That's without saying.
But regardless, he's currently in 3rd place, and there's no sign of Roberg catching anytime soon. The gap is stabilizing around the 2.5 second mark.
Roberg is going 0.3 faster a lap.
Looking at the gap, the split in time here, it's stabilized around 2.5 seconds.
See what this lap time looks like. 25.1, 25 flat for Greg.
So Roberg 1/10 faster last lap.
Yeah,
minor increases, minor pulls.
Well, the delta's on your screen right now, but as far as how the last 5 laps have gone between Vernon Gregg and Martin Roberg, 171, it was 3.5. It's now 2.6, the gap. So Roberg has a chance. I think he needs to gain more than a 10th here, as that was trouble by Jack Stanley, who almost threw both Greg and Pressey into the wall there in turns 3 and 4, trying to come down pit lane.
That would make him rather unpopular, I feel.
Just a little bit, yeah. Gap is down to 2.3, but again, with 20 laps to go, that's not going to be enough to really make any inroads. Unless Brennan Gregg has another one of those wall tap situations that we've seen happen from him 6 times in this race so far.
With the last stages of this race underway, let's go through the big winners and losers tonight. David Wright currently up 10 positions from where he started. In second place, starting 12th place. Lily Frazier also up 10 positions, starting in 18th with an EOL, and currently in 8th position, 2 laps down. We have, of course, Mary Watchhorn currently leading this race, starting 6th position with an 18-second gap to second place car, David Wright. Martin Roberg, still on the lead lap, 6 up from starting in 4th position. Started 10th, now 4th. We have Maurice Camillion, 1 lap down, had a penalty during the pit stops, I believe, and is now 1 lap down, but up 3 from starting position. And then onto the less favourable side, we have Alec Daffin. Obviously, he's now out of this race, but he's one of the bigger losers tonight, I feel. Was running in second for most of this race, was in contention for the win, or at least a good attempt at it. Had the strategy figured out. He made the number he needed to for the pit lane, for the pit stop, and he went 15 over the line on that pit stop, and just immediately parked the car. Knew his time wasn't worth it anymore. So 16 down from where he started, where he could have only been maybe in the top 10s by now, maybe even top 5 perhaps, if he had stuck with it. Patrick Hernandez, another victim of today's pit entry speeds, was running, I believe, 3rd or 4th position. Had an issue with, again, pit lane. Speed 9 down, so currently in 11th position. Bobby Blowers had an early lap 6 incident. Some minor damage to his car. Started 9th position, currently 16th position. Still running though. Was in the pit for a while, repairing the car. It's still had a little issue in the race. His fast pair already in use, so his car is still without the front end, very damaged. And 38 laps down from the leader. Those are our big winners and losers from tonight, with 13 laps to go.
Laps are ticking down here. 2 cars on the lead lap. David Wright, the next car to go, a lap down. That is the 9 of Elkins behind him, and then Watchhorn in his mirrors.
Have we ever seen a race where Watchhorn has lapped the entire field to win?
I have to research real quick. I feel like Milwaukee would be close.
Of course, we didn't add that one. I do believe I heard. So I definitely heard that Merrick had rinsed the field during that race, but I'm not sure if the entire lap or the entire field did go 1 or more laps down. Very possible though.
He did not lap the field at Milwaukee.
How many cars were on the lead lap?
6.
Oh, so not quite as big of a wash.
You'd have to look. I don't know if Watchhorn's ever won by a lap before. He's about to, with how things are currently running. Wasn't Martinsville?
10 to go. It is getting there.
Closest was Bristol. There was 3 on the lap there. So yeah, new territory there for Merrick Watchhorn with 9 laps to go.
I guess now we're looking at the race for 2nd and 3rd.
And that's not much of a race because there's 2 seconds between it. And David Wright, despite being on older tires, is going faster.
Yeah, he's definitely making those tires work. We were confused over his strategy earlier in the race, but I take back what I said. Sometimes I am wrong. Don't get used to it.
I'm clipping that.
I quit.
David Wright opened up a 2-second gap, at least, over Brendan Gregg right now. Brendan Gregg trying to reel it back in, but at the very least, Brendan Gregg is being matched by David Wright here. He's not making any inroads. Same with Martin Roberg. That gap is stabilized at 2.2 seconds. Now, it was 3.6 on lap 170, but it's severely closed in and slowed down as this race has gone on. 7 laps to go, and some drivers are just counting away the laps, especially if you're the likes of Jack Stanley, Corey Piper, Bobby Blowers. You're kind of just hoping that this race ends quickly further down the order. From Eric Watchorn, it's been a cruise that easily couldn't have been had it not been for mistakes by Zier and Daffin on their strategy calls in the pit stops around them.
Even teammates Gamillion and Hernandez, had they been able to put up any kind of fight, that was pulled away from them by similar incidences.
Yeah, the team had a 1, 2, 3, 4 going, and that was completely stripped away. That was a rough time. The watch.
Actually, I heard that before the race today. They went through and they handed every driver a bag, and everyone but Watchorn has dropped it off a height.
Okay, that's a good one. Oh, that's a good one. 4 laps to go, 4 miles to go for Merrick Watchorn, who's been on a historic run across all ABN competitions. ABN Cup Series is Emily Howe. ABN Champ Car has Bruno Miranda. RX Square Cup Series is Tommy Reynolds. TWIGI has Merrick Watchorn as its dominant force so far in this season. 3 laps to go. He's been unstoppable. And he continues to be.
Can we take all of our all-star drivers and put them in a Legends car around Charlotte Legends Oval, and see who comes out on top?
I feel like doing like a death match. Like,
I mean, 34 Legends on a Legends Oval. I think that may be a death match.
It's not enough of a death match. We need to do it on like a dirt oval. Merrick Watchorn with 1.5 miles to go. Again, clinical. He's not had to worry about it. He's not been pressed. He's been able to sort of just waltz through here. And with 1 lap to go, he could literally coast. He doesn't have to, and he won't. But he's going to win by a lap. He's going to do what Lilac Zier did in Champ Car back in December and win by a lap. Merrick Watchorn out of turn 4 for the final time. It's win number 15 on the season. He wins at Dover. David Wright in second. Brendan Gregg will finish third. Obviously, we're going to show a statistic here. 28 career wins before tonight. Make that 29. And a little bit of bump drive. That's a huge celebratory bump there by his teammate Jacob Elkins. And excuse me, make that 30 career wins, because they didn't update to include last week at Nashville. So for 30 career wins in the series, 15 on the season. It matches his best from the first 2 years combined. That's the type of run that Watchorn has been on.
I mean, when you think about it, what would you rather have? A long list of win after win after win after win, or one win that laps the entire field? Which one is more remarkable to you?
I would take the numerous. I think the 30 wins. Pretty easily on that one. But Merrick Watchorn going to burn it down here. In victory lane, he will go. David Wright second. His best result of the season, with Brendan Gregg sitting in third place. We'll hear from our podium finishers here shortly. In just a second. Merrick Watchorn, race winner. We'll hear from him next. He's ready to go. Merrick, this is Carmen from the ABM booth. You got a copy?
Good copy.
What a performance. It seemed like strategy could have had something, but I think we've said that the last couple weeks. Ended up not being a factor that mattered at all. And for the first time, at least the first time that I can see, we have someone that's won a race by a full lap. Clinical from start to finish for you, but it wasn't that way in qualifying. Kind of walk through, I guess, how your race went, but also kind of walk through how qualifying's changed for you, because you were near the front of the field a whole bunch. These last few races, you've had a handful in qualifying.
Yeah, no, I keep changing my mind at the last second to see if I can get something more out of it, and then I don't practice it, so I kind of goof up and mess up on my own. So, unfortunate, that's just how it rolls, and, you bite the dust and you just try to work your way through the field. I wasn't really expecting to work through the field that quickly. I won't lie. That was different for me. But like Dover is literally my absolute favorite track. So, this is the track I spent most of my time on. So it was one of my favorites of all time. So it's a great feeling to win. But man, 8 in a row, 15 wins. I mean, wow.
It absolutely has been a historic run this season. I mentioned this just a second ago. Your 15 wins this season, it marks the wins that you had in 2021 and 2022 combined. With, obviously, we're on lap race 23. There's still 13 races to go after today. So a lot of racing still to come, and it's been, again, a historic season to run. Walk us through, I guess, going through this race. A huge crowd tonight, 19 cars. Traffic was a factor here tonight. Very much more so than what it was at Milwaukee a few weeks ago. Kind of walk through how refreshing it was having to see all the traffic in your way as you try to make it through, and obviously having to mitigate that tonight.
The traffic was a big deal tonight. It just affected the nose and affected the car going through each and every other corner. It's kind of how I got some damage towards the end. I had to pit early. Corey smacked the wall, came off, and gave me so much damage on the right side that that arrow push and just being tight throughout the race. It's just a big thing for this car. And man, it just week in and week out, it's just one of my strengths is just being consistent, being up front, and just getting that clean air early and just kind of doing my thing and trying to stay out of trouble for the most part. But man, that I won't lie, tonight was a little exhausting.
Absolutely, it's a 200-mile race, 200-lap race here at Dover. A very demanding 1 mile short oval. We kind of go back to the bread and butter here. You look at the next race coming up, Kansas, which I think for a lot of people is one of the more favored intermediate tracks with the progressive banking. Chicagoland, it's that, a track that everyone's been clamoring over. Obviously, everyone's talked about Chicago and how stock car racing has moved from, obviously, the oval to the street course. But Chicagoland and Kansas coming up, those next two races, should be interesting, with those two tracks being, I think, a lot more wide open. What are you expecting going into those races coming up here as we really kind of run through the end of the summertime here in the series?
It comes down to how everyone's gonna, play nicely. I probably didn't make a lot of friends tonight. A lot of people were sounding like they were getting a little frustrated with me lapping them and whatnot. And just dominating performance, but moving forward with the next 2 weeks with the mile and a half, hopefully, we get a bigger challenge. We get more people coming out and, really throwing up their stuff. I'm on a hot streak right now, so that's unfortunate for everyone, but it's also unfortunate for me because sooner or later I'm gonna, fall apart on it. I'm gonna, hit my the wall at some point, but what goes up must come down. So hopefully I can maintain my points lead. Even with all these wins, that points lead, can be diminished in 5 races. I mean, it could go away drastically. So it's just one of those things with how tight and competitive this field really is. Hello.
Sorry, I was muted. My pupper was trying to interrupt and be the broadcast director. But obviously, a phenomenal performance tonight. 30 wins on your career, 15 wins on the season, 8 in a row with Kansas and Chicago coming up. Obviously, you mentioned an exhausting race, especially for you, especially in this heat and especially as storms ramp up here. It's going to be even hotter here the next couple weeks. But before we let you go, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Obviously, an interesting night for the team as well. A top 4 at one point ended up floundering out, and strategy ended up not working that way, but still a good performance overall for the team. 1st, 5th, 9th, and 11th for your team there tonight here at Dover.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to TWIGI. Want to give a shout out to QSA. They were on our car tonight, and then Capture the Occasion. Want to thank all my friends and family, and want to thank y'all for continuously, showing off this league and giving the love and the support that we deserve. I just want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for sticking with us throughout the season. We've had our ups and downs, and it's a great feeling to come out with this and make a great product for everyone to enjoy. Besides that, it's just just want to enjoy my time and enjoy my win, and I'll definitely talk to y'all later.
Absolutely, Merrick Watchorn. Enjoy your race win. 15th on the season, 8 in a row. 181 laps led out of 200 tonight, en route to a phenomenal victory here at Dover. Thank you, Merrick. Have a good night.
Thank you.
That was Merrick Watchorn, race winner here tonight. We'll have another interview coming up here. It'll be David Wright, 2nd place finisher tonight, his best finish in the series so far. David, this is Carmen from the ABM booth. You got a copy?
Got a copy.
What a drive for you. Your best finish in the series. And it was a demanding race. Strategy call worked out in your favor. You pit earlier than everybody else. And you got those positions, 10 positions, tied with the most positions gained all night. Kind of just walk us through it. Dover's a demanding track, and you ended up getting your strategy down to perfection here, coming from 12th position on the grid.
Yeah, during that second caution came right at the end, right in pit cycles, and I had just came on pit road when that second caution come out. So I had to drive through, continue on down pit road at pit speed, and it caused me to get a lap down. So I ran that whole second half of that race or more a lap down, and just decided I was going to try to pit every 50 laps. And I knew that my strong suit was on old tires compared to everybody else. So I did that third stint. I think I did 40 laps and decided to do 60 on the last stint to see if I could gain a little track position. And I don't know what happened. Next thing I know, I'm riding in second, and then I look and the leader's behind me. I'm like, well, I didn't get my lap back all the way completely, but I somehow got it to second. So I really don't know.
It worked out all the way, and obviously Merrick Watchorn on a completely different level tonight. But obviously the pace you had tonight has been phenomenal, and we've seen that from you not only on Friday nights but on Sunday nights as well in the RX Square Cup Series. How much help has it been as far as just running this series? Obviously you're kind of double dipping here, running both these series. How much benefit has it been sort of running both these series? Because your results overall have been climbing across both series.
There's so much difference between this car and the Sunday night, the A Square car. I always believe, laps are laps. So if you can get, the more practice you can get, the better. The tracks generally tend to drive about the same, but just the way the car's handled tends to be a little bit different. So I don't know that one correlates completely to the other. Some of it's luck. I had some bad luck in the beginning of the season with A Square, just got caught up in a lot of stuff that wasn't my doing. And, so sometimes luck's just got to be on your side. Just like tonight, I was a lap down because of a pitting during when a caution come out right when I got on pit road, and to somehow end up second. I honestly don't have a clue what happened. I just looked down and said, oh crap, I'm in second.
Obviously it worked out for you tonight here. Again, your best finish of the season in this series. and what will be probably a pretty action-packed season, or a pretty action-packed weekend, I guess, on your behalf, because you've got Richmond on Sunday. A
Yep.
phenomenal performance here tonight for you. Obviously, we'll see you again on Sunday there for Prophecy Motorsports. But as far as tonight goes, if there's anyone to shout out and say thank you to, David, the floor is yours. Congratulations on a podium finish, a second-place finish, and a job well done here at the Monster Mile.
I appreciate it. I always like to thank, the people that put the league on and the people that are in the broadcast booth. Y'all do what y'all do, which allows us to come down here, sit on the track and play, and what I call play. So it's always greatly appreciated, because if y'all didn't do what y'all did and the league owners didn't do what they did, we wouldn't have none of this. So it's greatly appreciated.
I appreciate it. Again, it was fun watching you, especially that strategy call there. We were kind of wondering if it was going to pan out, and it worked out brilliantly. 10 spots gained tonight, a second-place finish here at Dover, with another short oval coming up on Sunday. David, enjoy it, and hopefully we get to talk to you again in a couple days' time at Richmond.
Well, good. I appreciate it, Carmen.
Thank you. That was David Wright. Race podium for him. Second place for David Wright. A phenomenal job well done for David Wright tonight. We're going to go through the full race rundown here. Merrick Watchorn stormed it, won for the first time by a full lap. Did what Lilac Zier did 7 months ago. David Wright finished second, Brennan Gregg third, Martin Robick fourth. Maurice Gamillion rounded out the top 5 after being as high as third place in this race at one point. Nick Pressey, saw him on track here. He ended up 6th place, gaining some spots there on strategy later on in the running. 2 laps down for him. Same with Lilac Zier, who was hoping that this was a Champ Car race and not an Xfinity Series race. Lily Frazier in 8th place. Jacob Elkins in 9th. Eli Sasek rounds out the top 10 for Ascent Racing. A busy week for the Ascent Racing driver. Patrick Hernandez 11th. Greg Pillar 12th. Casey Ellis 13th. As they struggled and just tried to survive. They did a decent job, seeing as how they finished this race less than 5 laps down. Jack Stanley struggled tonight, 12 laps down for him after being involved in a massive accident early on. Corey Piper finished 15th, a race to forget for him on his debut. Bobby Blowers 16th after losing the front of his car in the first quarter of this race. Alec Daffin, after a speeding penalty, called it quits. 73 laps from the finish. RJ Buchanan retired 128 laps from the finish, and Selena Thompson finished only 16 laps in this race before calling it quits and this 19 car field. But that's gonna do it from Dover Motor Speedway. We're off tomorrow night, but we'll be back Sunday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern. We have myself and Kevin Young calling the action, the A-Square Cup Series from Richmond Raceway. On behalf of everyone here for the TWIGI iRacing Series, for all of their partners, and everyone here at ABN Studios, we have commentator Callie Heydt. I'm Carmen Sienna. It's been great being back. Until Sunday at Richmond, stay safe, stay healthy, try to have some fun this weekend, try to stay cool, but we'll see you next time. Until then, take care.